So surely, will someone be wrong to say that probably the authorities responsible have been sleeping on the job, and it's just unfortunate that it had to be an accident to point out some of the lapses that are there?
I think we can answer the two. Then the last two questions will be asked.
Okay, thank you very much. On the issue of the age, it is true that the majority of the people who are involved in crashes are within the age, the productive age. And this is not just true in our Kenyan situation. It is actually the trend globally that majority of the people who are involved in fatal accidents are the young people between the age of 15 to early 30. Majority of the victims are in that category. Unfortunately, also for us as a developing country, majority of the people majority of them are breadwinners, and therefore when they happen, the dependency that we know in Africa, the severity of those who are suffering actually is even enhanced. So we want to actually also acknowledge that this is something that is affecting seriously the young people, and actually even at the global level, it is the highest killer, even overtaking HIV and AIDS in this category of victims. On the issue of who are the majority of the people, you will be shocked to know that 40% of the fatal accidents that we see in the country are pedestrians. 40%. And this has been consistent over a long period of time. It becomes obviously a very big challenge, because how do you monitor and how do we enforce pedestrians who cross the road at various crossing points? It becomes a big challenge. On the issue of the license, I think that's not the information we have. The information we have is that the insurance of this vehicle is expiring of 19th of October. And we have that and the certificate actually is the police at the scene of crash. So where this information is coming that this vehicle had an expired.
What of the excess people in these vehicles passing through roadblocks?
As to whether the story where the issue of the insurance is coming, I don't know where it's coming from. On the issue of the number of people, it is true that this bus is licensed to carry 62. From the figures we have right now, it looks like this bus was carrying 71 people. That's the much we know. However, there are several children in that bus. We still do not know exactly how many were who are children, to be able to fully determine whether this bus was overloaded or not.
My name is Jackson Minor from Kameme TV. How effective is the last year's government proposal to ensure that all PSVs are fitted with patrol bus to ensure that in case of such an accident, we cannot have the kids in need like the one that happened last year?
Okay, let me take this one, and I think this is also one of the areas that really that has not been reported correctly. KS 372 took effect on 22nd of May 2017. What that means is that before then, there were no bus body construction standards in the country before that came into effect. All buses currently being manufactured for use as public service effective 22nd of May 2017 are fully in compliance with that standard. The issue that we have is what we do with in excess of 100,000 buses playing on our roads that were there before the standard came into effect. For them to comply with the standard, they have to be stripped completely and rebuild afresh. The understanding when a standard was being developed was to give a transition of 7 years in which everybody was to conform. And if you understand the process of developing a standard, it is not one entity, it is all stakeholders involved. It was agreed 7 years period, transition period. However, in light of what we have seen and the continuous loss of life we see in our country, this is something that we think we can revisit with all the relevant stakeholders with a view to see whether we can bring this forward so that everybody complies to the new construction standards. I am certain that the fatalities we are seeing clearly demonstrate that if this bus was constructed with those standards, we would have had less people die.
My name is Tato Nyang from People Daily. Right now, the mandate of enforcement lies with the police. there are claims that the traffic police does not have a proper command structure. Could you just tell us who is the person in charge of the traffic police right now, and where is responsibility for the loss of life lies?
To add on to that question, I'm being told that traffic officers are no longer reporting to their traffic commander, maybe because of the confusion he's talking about. Maybe you can respond to that.
Thank you very much. And as Chairman NTSA said, that accident was really a very tragic day for us. And it made us think a little bit deeper as to how do we become much more effective as law enforcers. And having derived a couple of lessons from, as you said, from that accident. It is certainly not true that there's confusion or that there's no proper structure to manage traffic in this country within the National Police Service. Managing traffic is one of the core responsibilities of the National Police Service. Initially, we had one hierarchical structure called Traffic Department with a commandant, with officers spread around the country to enforce traffic law. But I found that one to be unnecessarily complicated, in which it did not give the responsibility to the county commander to enforce traffic law in the respective counties. So I unbundled Traffic Department and gave it the responsibility of managing policy and managing certain critical departments within traffic. But enforcing traffic law is a responsibility of the regional commander, with his county commanders, the OCPDs, as we still call them now, or the incoming sub-county commanders, and the officers in charge of police stations. So if there's, for instance, the case of Kerichon on yesterday, it is a responsibility of the county commander Kericho. There's no confusion at all about traffic, and that traffic officers do not report to anybody. They report to their immediate supervisors, and they know that. I think I've answered your question.
Final question.
Yes.
We are inching closer to the festive season. Kenyans would like to know what you're going to do differently to ensure that such accidents don't occur.
Thank you very much. We have a plan, and I can confirm to you that there is indeed a plan. And you will see us, together with the regulator, the NTSA, do things completely differently. But the thing that I want to take this opportunity to underscore, and that is the importance of exercising responsibility on the part of all of us. You do not require a police officer to be standing next to you all the time when you're riding a motorbike or driving a car. If you're driving a car, to ensure that you're fastened, and if you're on a motorbike, to put on your helmet. It is in your own personal interest. So it is important for all of us to exercise greater sense of responsibility while we also do our job as law enforcers. Thank you very much.
I think
Yes.
we agreed.
Just a quick one.
Yes.
The survivors who spoke to the media yesterday from the crash, and so one of them was actually saying that by the time there's a traffic police who was there, and by the time they left that area now, the drivers were settled. And this specific area has had a lot of accidents. This is the first one. Actually, they said in a month they can have 2 or 3 accidents in the same road. It is not known to you that until such a fatal accident occurs, that then now we have this conversation.
I didn't get correctly your question. Could you reframe it again?
The question is,
Yes.
what are you really doing as in terms of the police? Because the roadblocks were there, and there are traffic police who are said to have been there, and they saw this bus was overloaded. They saw it, and they still allowed it to go on. This is a road that has had accidents every single month, and this is actually people who are saying that are survivors from the country. So what are you doing in terms of making sure that we don't keep hearing the same thing over and over again.
And as you heard the chairman of NTSA say, that there are a couple of initiatives that we want to introduce that we believe will help us reduce fatalities on our roads, including ensuring that we have bus bodies that are of the standards that we are required. But on the question of whether there were roadblocks all along from Nairobi to the scene of accident, it is an exercise that I'm engaged in now to find out who was on duty on the material date. And I want to take to task if there was any officer who allowed that bus with all those mistakes, as we now know, and allowed it to continue with the journey. And for us, we do not compromise on anybody who makes mistakes of that type. We exact very, very severe punishment.
So what happens to the regional commander? You just said the regional commander of Kericho will take us.
If I find that there was anybody on the wrong, that particular commander will have to face our disciplinary code and the law of the land.
What kind of discipline?
I know it, and that officer knows.
Thank you so much. I think we agreed on 5. We have had 8. We hope to talk again.